This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. FAN.
Don't miss your chance to catch the Flop, Sweat, and Tears tour. Catch Common and Larry Mondello Guy for one night only at Bogarts in Apple Valley on March 21st. Tickets are available at BogartsEntertainmentCenter.com. But you can win your way in being caller, let's say number 11. Call 800-320-5326 right now.
That's Phil and Fuller. I'm the common man, Dan Cole. Excited and delighted to be joined by the legendary Mark Rosen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. You know, in your 50-year run at WCCO Television, did you at any time have the news director, the general manager, anybody, during a broadcast, take pot shots at you or criticize what you're doing while it's taking place?
No.
I wish that wouldn't happen here.
How could, what?
138:28, I get a text message from the program director.
He's not even here.
So much for that 20 share.
Wow.
It's like it was he must not understand how, leave radio, you do the programming.
Right.
And I'll do the entertainment.
Sure.
It was a brilliant 20-minute segment in which we started out.
Oh, I thought he was saying, he was.
Well, he said it's over. Yeah, he was reacting to what was going on. There it goes. Okay. There goes your 20 share. In other words, people are gonna flock away. Yeah. We talked about the Celtics sale approved at $6.08 billion.
Right.
And then kind of compared it to the Wolves deal. So we just talked about the selling.
Comparison.
And the thing is, we didn't just report it like a sports talk show. Max and I had a lot of funny lines that we talked about. It was very entertaining. It was side-splitting entertainment.
Right.
Go from there, start talking about the passenger that bit. We've all flown before. Yeah. One of my biggest fears is to be on the plane where somebody goes berserk, right? They have to take the plane and return to where they are. It's never happened. But there was another one of those where some guy bit a passenger, fought with other ones. And we talked about
always on video, too.
Yeah. Then we had this was a couple of weeks ago, there was a flight where somebody died on the plane and they just propped the person up in one of the seats next to other people. There was nothing else they could do. We talked about how uncomfortable that would be. Then he brought up something about, what Max brought up was he said, did the stewards or the flight attendants ever get confused and say, "Sir, you haven't eaten any of your food. Is something wrong?"
Oh my God!
And that was funny. So that led me to talking about when my dad passed away, and he's laying there. We're waiting for the funeral director to come and pick him up and bring him to the funeral parlor. And I'm just sitting there, and the gal comes in and says, "Oh, we're showing a church service on TV right now. Would you like to see it?" "Oh, I see your dad's sleeping." And I go, "No, he's not sleeping. He's dead." And so we did. So it was actually a really good. And I got unprecedented response from and he's basically saying, "Well, no one's going to listen to you now."
You want more Aaron Rodgers talk?
I guess he wanted more Aaron Rodgers talk. I wanted me to break down, find a camp. Pheasants Forever or Ducks Unlimited? Which one? He'd rather I talk about Pheasants Forever or Ducks Unlimited.
Right. Wow. No, that's never happened.
Yeah, save it for after the show, maybe.
He's not here, though. That's why.
Trying to throw me in? Yeah, where is he?
I don't know. Little B said he's in meetings.
Of course he is.
Yeah. Out of the building.
He's in a duck blind now somewhere. Either that or he's in a fishing boat.
That's pretty early for that.
He's a fraud.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
So that's what
what you had to deal with.
Isn't that good? Boy,
that's very disconcerting.
Well, I think so.
Very. It could throw you off your game if you weren't a veteran.
I think it was about 6 weeks ago, maybe not even quite that, about 4 weeks ago. The Wolves staged a furious rally.
Right.
They defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder. Mm-hmm. You came in the next day and said, "I don't think there's any team the Wolves need to be afraid of." Do you still feel that way after last night's pathetic performance against
I still feel that
Pelican
way,
club?
But I think they have to fear themselves more than their opponents.
Oh.
I was there last night.
You were there
for finish.
It? Ooh.
Yeah, and I was telling Max, first of all, kudos to New Orleans because I'm trying to figure out, and I've watched some bad basketball teams roll in here. I'm trying to figure out, even watching last night, I know they're missing a player or two that got hurt, how that team's only had that team only won 18 games this year. They were a good basketball team. First of all, Zion Williamson was far and away the best basketball player in the court last night. I mean, it wasn't close. It got to the point where Finch couldn't find anybody to guard him, and he finally had to put Jalen Clark, who's like 5'10", basically. I mean, he's a little taller than that. You're putting a guard on Zion Williamson, trying to slow him down because no one else could. He looked like the Zion, Max was just saying that we were talking about that you expected to see. Of course, he's had a ton of injuries too. He was 12 for 16 from the field, but just asserting himself. He also had 8 assists, so he had a great all around game. Something that
how many boards did he have?
He had 5, not a lot.
Still 5 boards is 5 boards.
But he had 8 assists, and he had 3 steals.
Yeah. He was all over the court.
He was all over the court, something that Anthony Edwards did not do last night. He was 5 for 19 from the field. He shot a lot of free throws, which is a good sign. You always want that to happen. But he was off. He tried to play hero ball at the end. Nas had a terrible game. Nikhil Alexander-Walker was 1 for 7. Conley played well. He was at his best last night. 6 for 8. He had 4 3-pointers. Gave him that kind of stability at guard. But other than Jalen Clark, the bench pretty much didn't give them any assistance. Now, like I was telling Max, especially the way the game ended and the way the Wolves were not doing the things right, they were just shooting themselves in the foot left and right. And I think Finch gets, he wants to go to his comfort zone, so he puts the usual suspects in there. But I personally would have Terrence Shannon in the game when it's a close game like that at the end, because the things he wants out of this basketball team, Shannon can provide and often does, and that's drive with authority to the basket and either put it in or get fouled. Ant wasn't, at the end wasn't doing it because he was jacking up 3-pointers and not hitting them. And, Gobert was on the bench. I don't know what the thinking was with that because they needed his rebounding out there because New Orleans was getting a ton of offensive rebounds. And the Wolves even, and Ant talked about it, about, the basics, the fundamentals, blocking out. I mean, he talked about it after the game. The Wolves are just not blocking out, and the Pelicans are doing a better job of getting second, third chances.
Well, Ant said exactly what DiVincenzo said in the last loss. The other team tried harder than we did.
I don't think it was trying harder.
Well, that's what Edwards said.
Well, I don't know where he's. I mean,
he said the other team tried harder.
Had a 14-point lead at one point early in the game, and I don't think it was effort. I think it was just execution. And I mean, they looked like they were playing hard. They just didn't have a sense of cohesiveness that you need to have, especially, and the Wolves have had the biggest problems at clutch time. Ant has had the big problems at clutch time. The Wolves as a team have had the problems of trying to...
Is it time to tell Ant to quit trying to be the hero at the end and let somebody else take the shot?
It was brought to his attention, and he goes, basically, that's what I do.
Well, no, you don't.
That's what I get paid for.
No, you don't.
But you haven't. And, again, when you go 5 for 19 and you're looking at the other team, and their guy's going 12 for 16, and C.J. McCollum's 7 for 18. He's been around a lot longer. You drop a game like that, and it's not as they say, it's not a serious looking basketball team at the end. And so, I mean, I still believe they have.
We dropped to the 8th spot now.
I know, and that's not where you want to be. I mean, 2 straight losses at home to an Indiana team missing 4 starters, and last night to a team that had won 18 games. You just
if you're in the play-in, it's embarrassing. It's been like being relegated to the play-in game on Tuesday night for the NCAA tournament.
It's just a different part of the format, and I know they can survive it, but it's not the ideal situation. And honestly, I think looking at their schedule, I think that's where they're going to end up. I mean, unless not so much just beat New Orleans here tomorrow night. I mean, my God, they better. But then they have to go on the road and play that same Indiana team, which will be probably at full strength on Monday night. And maybe they'll play better because they have to rise to the occasion. They're on the road, and they're going to play a team, that's going to be a lot more talented than the one they lost to here the other night. So,
do you think to suffer any further embarrassment, they should just not accept the, let's say they get the 8th seed, and just let's say, you know what, let number 11 get it instead. We're just not going to play.
No.
That's what they should do.
No.
That's what they should do. That's it's embarrassing.
It's, they have opportunities. They've had opportunities. I mean, obviously, Golden State dropped one the other night when Curry was not playing.
He was tired.
He was tired. And,
they dropped the one when he was in the game. Was the game when he was out, they won.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Jimmy,
against Milwaukee.
Jimmy Buckets rose to the occasion.
Well, the Bucks were awful.
Yeah.
They were terrible.
He rose to the occasion.
God,
he was brilliant.
I don't know what happened to that team. But yeah, I don't know. I just, it's, as Joe Mauer used to say, it's frustrating.
It is frustrating.
Because you watch the talent they have, and Ant in particular, I mean, it's great. He shot, 15 out of 17 free throws.
I'm done pouring my heart into this team.
Are you?
Yeah, I think I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore.
Can't put that much emotion into it. Well, you're going to be at your, you'll have lots of chuckles tomorrow night. Instead of watching the Wolves, you'll be making other people laugh.
Yeah, that's correct. We will be making people laugh.
It's the make them giggle again.
Yeah,
right?
make them giggle again.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
So
we're going to make the people.
Probably a good thing that you won't have to pay attention to the game tomorrow night.
Let's pause. NCAA March Madness taking place. Wisconsin is going to more than likely polish off Montana here. They have a 13-point lead with 6 minutes to go. We'll go over the other scores as well, talk a little NCAA, other topics as well, including the Wild. All they do is they keep.
Wow.
They don't back down. They're missing. They were missing 4 of their best players.
Right.
Well, another one of the best players left in the first period. They still found a way to beat the Kraken.
3 goals in like 4 minutes.
Yeah, 4.5 minutes, 4:29. So we'll talk about those topics and others when we return. Common Man program on the Fan.
Wolves fans, we don't just talk ball, we live it. And now we're throwing you a full court lob with $15 tickets to select March games. Don't just hear us break it down, be there. Feel the energy, lose your voice, and howl with us. Use code KFAN at Timberwolves.com/March to get your $15 tickets today.
Couple 13-14 pass. Time for Peek at the Pros, brought to you by the Minnesota Golf Association. You can get more out of your game with the MGA. You receive a handicap index that allows players of all skill levels to compete on an equitable basis. You post scores, track your stats, course GPS, enhance your golf round with a free USGA mobile app, too. Access to the best public and private courses at the MGA North Star Series and official state championships for all levels of play. And junior golfers can play for only $5 thanks to Youth on Course. Get more to your game today. mngolf.org/join online. mngolf.org/join online. Mark Rosen, if you can tell me the first name of the first 5 players on the leaderboard of the playing at the Snake Pit and the what the hell's the name of it? The Valspar. You're better than I am. What's Jay Bridgman? Do you have any idea who this is and what his first name is?
Jay Bridgman was very successful at Vanderbilt on the golf team.
Okay.
And then he went on the...
started an ice cream parlor called Bridgman.
He did.
His grandfather
The best malts. He's not related to Junior Bridgman, former basketball player. I have no idea.
Jacob Bridgman. He's at -4. He's tied with 3 others.
Okay.
Kay Mitchell. Do you know? I had to look all these up.
Well, where's this? The Valspar? This is
there's big names though, but there's big names playing. Schauffele's there. Okay. There's a lot of big names playing.
Right. None of them are on the leaderboard at the moment.
Not at the moment. It's Keith Mitchell.
I've heard of him.
Jaeger. Now I've watched him play, but I still didn't remember his first name. Steve, something or other, and then Castillo, and not our Castillo. It's Ricky Castillo. He's also at 400. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's if you're a golf fan and you catch like on a Sunday. I think we mentioned there was a few weeks ago. There was a guy who had never won on the
That's
tour.
Correct.
That was fun to watch. I mean, you get little goosebumps if you're a fan. You like to, because the guys like that are. You know the story better than anyone. They have to pay their own freight. They got, they may not get sponsors exemptions. They got to earn their card. And
well, there was a story someone alerted me to, and I don't remember the name of the player, but somebody that I think qualified for Valspar.
Yeah.
And he basically went online and said, I got about $60 to my name. Somebody started a, what are those called?
GoFundMe page?
Yeah, and he's got like $30,000.
No kidding?
But he's down to nothing. He's peanuts. He's trying to make it on tour. And I wish I remember his name. Maybe somebody can text it to me. But there are some names. And you got Billy Horschel playing.
Right.
You've got Corey Connors, Pavon, Schauffele's playing. Knapp is in it. Victor Hovland's playing. So, Will Zalatoris has been just awful as of lately. Yeah. So, Jordan Spieth is playing. Shane Lowry, Thigala, Glover.
Big names.
And these guys, and there are definitely some big names playing in this event.
We talked about yesterday.
Gary Woodland.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Fleetwood to finally break through and get his first win.
I don't think it's ever going to happen.
I wonder. He should make a lot of money, but, and as we talked about yesterday, everything's leading up to the Masters, of course, in April, and that's when the live golfers will join the party, when you'll see Rahm and Koepka and DeChambeau playing, and it kind of harkens back to the good old days of yesteryear, and will we see those again, where you get, other than the majors, when you'll see those guys playing on the tour, or is it basically they're not going to figure it out? Yeah.
So we have Bruce Pearl's got his club in a good spot. You're a 1 seed playing a 16. They lead Alabama State 22-13 with just over 9 minutes to go. Game almost over. Wisconsin will eliminate Montana. They lead 83-62, just over a minute and a half to go there. Houston dominating SIUE, whatever that is. Just underway there. A little way. It was 13 and a half to go in the second half. They're leading by 29 points. And then earlier it was Louisville lost to
Creighton. Creighton beat them, rather handily. That's an 8-9 game where you expect it to be a lot closer. You have a lot of, this is the problem with opening days. And this used to be your point. If you're Alabama State, would you rather been to the NCAA tournament and get waxed by Auburn, or would you rather go to the NIT?
Spend big fat stacks of booster-provided cash.
At Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. I'd rather spend the big fat stacks of booster-provided cash.
And, hopefully you'll have, you have some matchups that should dictate that you'll have closer games as the day wears on. But this is what normally, you get the number 1 or 2 seeds playing, and you see a Wisconsin, they're the 3rd seed, they're routing Montana by almost 20. And here we go again with the Badgers. The Big Ten, I think, will do quite well.
They got enough teams in there.
Well, not as many as the SEC.
Of the Big Ten, I know. Max, let me ask you this question. It's what question I pose every year at this time. Let's say you play for Alabama State, right?
Yeah.
You know you're going to get killed by Auburn, right?
100%.
So if you had your choice, would you rather go to Butte, Montana and get destroyed by Auburn in the first round, or play in the NIT, get to the Final Four, and spend big fat stacks of booster-provided cash in the Big Apple?
Yeah, why not? Let's make it rain in NYC, baby.
That's more fun, because you're not going to upset Auburn and make a run.
That ain't happening.
No, and you can say, yeah, but we played in the NCAA. You didn't play. You got drilled.
Right.
You got drilled in the NCAA tournament. I'm spending big fat stacks of booster-provided cash.
I'm spending all those booster bucks, baby.
No, if you're an 8 seed or a 10 seed, no, that's different.
Yeah.
You want to see if you can spring a couple of it. You're 16.
You're 16.
You're not going anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Go dominate those sorry teams,
All right, let's take our final break. When we come back, I do want to talk a little hockey with you. Maybe we'll talk a little football, whatever you want to talk about.
I got lots on my mind.
You do. Well, let's empty your mind then.
Oh boy,
what's left of it? Yeah, we'll do that on the other side of the breaks. Common Man program with Common, Phil, and Fuller, and of course Mark Rosen here on the Fan.
Now. Want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
All I can do is shake my head and laugh at you. You doubted the Hornets of Alabama State.
We were just talking about having them go to the NIT.
You doubt. They are on a 9-0 run. Bruce Pearl beside himself. Auburn head coach has to call a timeout. It's a 9-0 run. It's only a 4-point Auburn lead.
I know. We got to love it. That's
why they call it March Madness, Mark.
Yeah, we were watching it and going, they still may end up losing by 20, but
I don't think so.
Right now,
I think they're going to win.
That you start feeling it, and the players are all juiced up, and you put a little pressure on the number 1 seed, and And people who have, filled out their brackets, I don't think they're worrying yet, but, there's always some team. Normally not a number one. You guys were talking about earlier. How many number one seeds have lost to a 16?
Twice.
So I wouldn't get too excited yet. But, I want to see I always like to see competitive games.
A couple of quick text messages regarding the program director going after me.
Yeah, that was unnecessary.
About that segment. And one says, cool story about your dad, Common. By the way, who won the Vikings-Lions game that day? People want to know. And I think the Vikings won. I think the Lions did lose that game.
They probably did. And normally is the case.
Here's another one. I enjoyed the last segment, Common. My dial is stuck on the Common Man. And then there's this one.
Yeah.
Has the program director ever listened to the program? If he doesn't listen enough, then he won't understand the show, and that's his problem.
No, he's busy there trying to.
He wants it to be something. He wants it to. He's looking for a. He's looking for Colin Coward, Jim Rome kind of a thing.
Break it down.
Yeah, we're just gonna let's talk about Twins middle relief for the next two segments.
Yeah, right.
We don't do that kind of radio on the Grum.
Not often.
No. We
break down all the sports, but not like that.
You are correct. This McNeese team has given Clemson everything they want to. 6-4.
Okay.
Early on, 15-17.
Wait. It's
a 5-12. It's still a big.
That's
upset alert.
Upset alert.
That's normally where they always say when you fill out your brackets, you better take at least one or two 12 seeds against the 5.
That's what you got to do.
That's what happens almost every time.
Maybe from McNeese State, the glass Chuck Taylor fits. We'll just have to.
They just threw it away.
Yeah.
Alabama State.
Well, you didn't think this was going to last, did you?
Oh.
Well, no. So the Auburn guy goes up for a slam instead of dunking it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's okay. He slammed on the ground. Looked like he was in bad shape, but he knows he should have.
No, he's embarrassed.
That was a terrible slam.
He was embarrassed.
Yeah, it was. I would be embarrassed. I wouldn't even get up from there. Get the stretcher, bring me off, bring me out.
That's right.
That's where you pretend you're hurt, so the people they forget what a bad play you made, and they just go, "I hope he's going to be okay." They forget they were just was a terrible.
Like you in wrestling when you used to wrestle back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, the exact same thing. How about the Wild Club? Again, Kaprizov's out, Eck is out, Brodin is out. They're missing Foligno. Right. And then, or did Foligno? No.
No, Foligno was out last night, too.
He was out last night, and then somebody else got knocked out, in the...
Marco Rossi got knocked out.
Yes, Marco Rossi got knocked out. He got hit by a boldy shot.
Yeah.
And yet, and I'm not, this is not to say the Kraken is like, your 1964 Montreal Canadiens, but they win the game.
Team. They won 30 games.
The Wild have been injured. They've been doing enough. I mean, again, it hasn't, they got off to a really good start in the season, which is helping them right now.
Right.
Because without those players there, they're having a tougher go of it. But they, with the Lanches loss last night, the Wild are just a couple of points out of third place in the Central.
If you missed if you were going to the game and you missed the first 5 minutes, then you didn't see anything.
Yeah,
I saw an open net goal if you're still in the arena, and I was at the Target Center. I was checking the score. I went, wait a minute, the Wild don't score 3 goals in a week, and they scored 3 goals in 4.5 minutes last night to start the game. And Hartman, Boldy, and Ogren. Who was just called up, and they had that 3-0 lead, and Gus Bus has been terrific in net, and he shut him out, and the Wild get, I'm saying they just kind of methodically took care of business, but that's what you got to do this time of year, especially when you're shorthanded with the number of injuries they've had. And it's just, you're not going to get the kind of updates you're hopeful of. It seems like the one that's closest to returning is Brodin, unless he's been skating. We got that much out of him, but we don't hear anything about Eriksson Ek or obviously Kaprizov in terms of him, other than what Bill Guerin said at the trading deadline when he said he expected both the key guys to be back before the end of the regular season, which is getting closer and closer, obviously, by the day. But, it'd be nice to see what this team will look like if they got everybody back healthy, because they've had to play a certain way right now to kind of keep themselves in the game and rely on their defense, their goaltending, and, hopefully special teams and find a way to win. And they've been doing a pretty good job of it overall. So, but Gus Bus seems to have, Gusson has definitely taken over. You got Marc-Andre Fleury, who's been around the block more than 100 times, and he's always there to be the proper backstop if and when necessary. But they're going to ride the hot hand right now in goal as long as they possibly can.
This one, Max says, Max, what are you laughing at? You don't listen to the show either. Well, There's that.
There's that. Well, also, I'm a part of the show, brother, and I texted him back. I said, I'm laughing at the text your mother sent me.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay in your lane, brother.
There you go, Max.
So you said you had a lot on your mind.
With all the conversations about the Vikings and the quarterback situation, which is still, we know JJ is going to be number one, but we don't know anything, I guess. But yeah, he's planning to be number one, and we don't know the backup yet, there's no urgency at the moment. I was very excited yesterday, and I know the Vikings have really added the pieces in areas.
What are you excited about?
Rondale Moore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know he's only 5'7". I watch, again, I'm not talking about, yes, at Purdue, he was one of the most electrifying college football players I'd seen in a long time. He terrorized the Gophers, but he terrorized pretty much everybody. And he's tough as nails, got great vertical jump. And I think given the Vikings situation, special teams, third wide receiver, potentially when Addison misses the first 3 games, we'll get more playing time there. But I think they're making the right moves at positions, and he's not the only receiver they've signed that before the draft even starts. You look at the roster right now and you go, there's not one crying need that they have to try to fill. Yes, it'd be nice to get another offensive lineman. They may take him 24th overall. I think defensive line in the middle still, though they've plugged a few of those spots, you never have enough of those guys. I don't think you can go wrong. Obviously they'll have their draft board set up. They probably already do. If they select 24th overall, they're going to get a good player. But it's a much different situation when you're not necessarily drafting for need as opposed to the best player available. And I think that's a position the Vikings have put themselves in because of a very active and on paper, successful free agent period where they've done things they needed to do. Defensive back.
You like this club, don't you?
Well, I think they have the opportunity. It gets back to the conversation about J.J. McCarthy. And I've heard other people say, there's been a couple, the national scribes say there hasn't been a rookie quarterback, a quarterback playing in his first year. Obviously, he's not a rookie. That has led his team to the playoffs the first year that he's played, other than maybe one, I think. It would
have been Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, you're right. Other than Jaden, he did it last year he's won. So, I do. I like what they've done. I think a lot of people like what they've done with the free agent period, but I was happy.
This Alabama State club's about to take the lead, Mark.
Oh my God!
They're down 2. Just under 3.5. There's the 3. It's up.
Oh, air ball.
That's okay. Oh gosh, it's too bad.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize that. People in Vegas are going a little crazy right now.
You love this. What do you like better, Vikings or Alabama State Hornets?
Alabama State Hornets. We were just talking Auburn scored 1 point in the last 5 minutes, basically. Number 1 seed. That's great because people are right now wringing their hands, looking at their brackets, going, "Oh my God, you got to be kidding!" If you're in Vegas, you're going, "I took Auburn, gave a
lot of basketball left to be played."
Of course, there is. They'll win by
Well, how do you know? See, don't give up on them.
Bruce Pearl is looking like he lost his dog.
Well, he's bitter. I'd be bitter.
You'll be able to hear him screaming in the locker room at halftime, all the way through the partitions. Anyway, I'm happy they signed Rondale Moore. I hope he was out all last year.
You've had your eye on him for a long time.
He had a knee injury with Atlanta. Didn't get to play with Kirk O'Chains last year. Sat out the whole year. And the Vikings have inherited. They've signed a bunch of players that were out with injuries. Not necessarily the whole season, but the 2 offensive linemen. Welcome to the NFL. You got to get on the field.
Ryan and Fries, you like those 2 guys, don't you?
Yeah, they were signed. They're signed.
Who are our defensive guys again? Hargrave and what was the other guy? You love those guys.
Well, I like the guy I'm excited about is not a rookie.
You're excited about the running back from San Francisco.
Well, I am, but I'm most excited to see what Dallas Turner is going to do this year, more than anyone else that they've signed. Because he's a young player. Just blinding speed. It was a little light last year to play the position, And I think they have high expectations for him this year. And I think that's your kind of between your freshman and sophomore year. I think that's the kid that you got to look at. It's going to have a big impact on their defense.
Could this be the year?
Sure it could.
You think it could be the year?
Oh, sure it could. Why not us?
Why not now? Yeah.
It's only March. We're talking about
the first ever rookie quarterback, or first year quarterback to win.
It was the big game.
The big game.
Yeah.
And then you look at guys like me and say, "Oh, see, you really wanted A-Raj, huh? Wanted to keep the kid on the bench for another year." Yeah. Matter of fact, I was talking about trading him. Remember?
I know you were.
I thought this is what you do, and I still don't think this is a half bad idea.
You keep hearing the
you trade McCarthy, get 2 1s and 2 2s, and then all of a sudden you bring in any quarterback. We could have brought in the Fields kid because we got quarterback whisperer. Yeah. All those free agent, all those new draft picks.
Anyone could succeed with them.
Well, that's what I've been told.
Yeah, hand the ball.
He can do it with any quarterback, doesn't matter who it is. Look at this.
This is there's still 2 minutes to go in the first half.
It's 3 minutes. Auburn leads, but that was a nice steal by
but
Alabama
it's a 3-point
State.
Game.
This text message came in to the Bradshaw Bryant's KFAN text line. Says, "Did either of you even watch the Wild game last night?" And I would say last night. I haven't watched a Wild game in 10 years.
Well, first of all, I was at Target Center, and I got home, and that's what I was saying. I got home because it was a late start. It didn't start till after 9 o'clock.
And you watched it?
I did. I watched most of the second period and all the third period and didn't see anything happen until they got the open net goal. That was my point, that if you either weren't watching or if you were parking your car late at the X, you missed all the action because they scored 3 goals in lickety-split time, and that was it. I mean, obviously there are other things to watch, but it was not. It's kind of a methodical performance after that. So yeah, I watched it when I got home. Yeah, and I had that good fortune because it was a late start. I don't think the fans were necessarily happy.
It's down to a point now.
Unbelievable.
Alabama State giving Auburn everything they want.
This is too good. Yeah.
Chuck Barkley probably won't be there at halftime. He's had a heart attack and they've rushed him to a hospital.
Barkley is going to be.
Look at block shot. Look at this.
They can take the lead.
Look at this.
Where's Jim Nantz? He got fouled.
But there was a foul.
You're
Jim Nantz is going to bring that kid his necktie right now, even though I haven't won the tournament yet. He's going to bring it to him after a first round victory.
Barkley's going to be going ballistic.
Well, I think Chuck, like I say, might have a heart attack, and they will say Chuck is not here. He's been taken to the hospital.
Oh, that's terrible. This is too much fun. This is truly even if it's not going to last.
You keep saying it's not going to last. Why do you keep saying that?
Well,
it's your negativity. But that doesn't mean it can't last.
No, I know. They're still, he barely got the ball.
You know what we call it?
Shaq shooting that free throw.
You know what we call it?
What's that?
I have 3 words for you.
What's that?
One shining moment. This is a shining moment. Can't you just enjoy it?
I am enjoying it.
You're being negative.
I'm being realistic. But I mean, I'd love to see them hang in there as long as possible. He just missed 2 free throws.
How is he misses them both? They're called free throws for a reason.
Clanked them off the front rim.
Well, he's nervous.
Got it.
Short-armed him.
Nervous.
Well, they've got Auburn on the ropes.
Yeah, now they're...
And one,
Yeah, it's trouble now.
It's over. Well, it's over now.
It was a fun run.
Yeah, Auburn leads by 3 now. They'll put it up to 4, minute 13. They'll pull away in the second half. You were right. Why did I doubt Auburn and you? I don't know why I would ever doubt
it's fun.
Guys.
Go get them.
What else? You had more on your mind, or was just your Vikings stuff?
I saw... I'm just shaking my head because we had the situation with Royce Lewis the other day when he pulled up lame. Now, I read that Brooks Lee... was taken out of the lineup today because he has back spasms. He's had problems with his back. And I'm going, are you kidding me? I mean, this is a guy, because we were talking off the air the other day about Miranda probably starting the season at third base, and they have some depth there. But Brooks Lee, again, he's on the cusp of maybe breaking through and having a consistent year, and he's had these back issues. So I mean, it's something that's not just he's got a little nagging tweak here in his back. I don't know what the situation is, but when time you read, it's like you hold your breath if you're a Twins fan every single day, even it's spring training, and they're winding down. We're a week away from the season starting in St. Louis, and they'll be without Royce Lewis. Now maybe Brooks Lee will be out. I mean, we haven't heard anything, knock on wood. I got to hit something wood here about anybody.
Hit your head.
Pitching, I can. The pitching staff, but
Thank you.
The injuries, and they're so silly.
Who gets hurt first, Buxton or Correa?
Buxton. Odds are Buxton will be nicked up. He'll do something. I hope not. I mean,
we none of us want to see it, but it just seems like it's almost like the Swallows returning to Capistrano.
I know. I mean, he's kind of. I mean, it sounds like he's conquered his plantar fasciitis, and that's something that shouldn't return again. But yeah, it's just you don't have the kind of depth that you have to have in order to. You lose some of your starters, and again, it's like back thing. I'm thinking, well, that could be really come chronic and problematic when you're torquing like that. Swinging the bat, it's like that's not going to go away. That's literally the motion you have to use every time you swing a baseball.
And you really only have one Oswald in the division, and that's Chicago, because Cleveland, Detroit, and Kansas City should all be roughly as good as they were last year. I mean, I know a lot of people have been picking Minnesota to win the division,
right?
But I've also seen now some late steam on Detroit because they got the defending Triple Crown / Cy Young Award winner on the mound, the Skubal kid. Yeah. Then they have another Ferret, the other starter that came back. So they've got their quality club as well. So now it's not like you only have to beat one team in the division.
Right.
There's 4 teams that are going to be competing for the division title, I think. So. I did get a question from somebody that said, is there anybody at the sports station that can tell us how you get a Twins game? You get it on streaming, right?
Yeah, but they're going to announce, yes.
But that's how you can get it right now. Right. MLB is now doing the broadcast, but you're eventually going to be able to get it on like
Comcast,
DirecTV, and all of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. Honestly, to answer your question, I don't know because I have to sign up. I assume they'd be making that announcement sooner or later unless someone already knows the answer to that, but I don't believe I can just go to, I know I can do it the streaming bit right now, but I don't want to do that. I do, but I want to get it on my TV. I want to watch the games at night and et cetera, and have access to them on my Comcast subscription. So I don't know I don't think the Twins have announced that yet since MLB has taken it over. It's not going to be FanDuel. It's not going to be.
Yeah, but if you can stream it, if you have any kind of technical, and I don't, but my boys can get it on the phone and get it into the TV.
Well, yeah, I think you can. But
I know you can, but I don't know how to do it, but you can. Either. Karn could probably do it.
No, she can't. I'm not laughing at her. That was kind of derogatory.
Have the concierge do it. He'll come.
The concierge,
The concierge do it. He'll fix it for you. He'll get it all fixed up for you.
Actually, Comcast has been they've been terrific. Every time I've had to troubleshoot something, and I had to the other day, they've been, honestly, because we're always ripping into, service areas, you call, whatever it might be. You can't get a live person. You can't talk to anyone. I've had great success.
It's now a 10-point lead at the half.
Oh, man.
Unless that goes in. No.
Yeah, that was.
So Auburn leads 41-31 over Alabama. Alabama State will have that 5 minutes, though. They'll always have that. You can't take that away from them.
Correct.
That's it for you this week. You're done. It's a Thursday.
Have a great time tomorrow night at your comedy show.
Did we give away tickets, by the way?
We did indeed give away tickets.
All right.
Think about it.
Need sauce.
There's a buzz in the air.
Oh, wow.
Sauce, comment, Larry Mondello guy tomorrow night at.
Have fun. I'll see you next week.
We will. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you. Who do we have for a program password tomorrow?
We have Julia Daniels of Care 11 fame and Alexis Pearson of Minnesota Wild and Minnesota Frost fame, along with you and Lil B Burb.
So we'll have 3 damsels in distress. The conquering hero, the Radio Romeo.
And the Fromeo.
And Fromeo, we'll see you tomorrow, Max. We'll see you next week, Mark. We enjoyed our visit. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 12 noon, Big Ticket, and Brett Lakemore next year on the Fan.
And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.